Great to have everyone with us on the Wednesday edition of the Oakland County Megacast as we take time out today to honor the veterans that are in our lives and in our community and all of those that have served prior to give us the freedoms that we so enjoy today. And just a little bit of history. I've been reading up about Veterans Day, and I think so many of us do have family members that have served, and we know the impact that it has on our lives and on their lives as well. And did you know that Veterans Day actually started back on November 11th, 1919. It was the first anniversary of the end of World War I. And then Congress passed a resolution in 1926 for an annual observance, and November 11th became the national holiday beginning in 1938. But in all honesty, while we do take this day to pay tribute and to honor all of those that have served for our country, each and every day is a Veterans Day here in America. Yes. Because we are a free nation, and we owe that to the men and women that have served prior to us, Tyler.
Yes, we do. And they have, in many cases, given their lives, but in other cases, given years of their lives, their bodies, and so much of their energy and time and their youth in many cases, in order to protect us and to give us the ability to live our lives without worry while they fight for our freedoms overseas and even really close to home as well.
Yeah, and while we may seem like we're extremely divisive right now coming out of this past election, if we could all take pause for a moment today to reflect that we are still one nation. We are one America. And as I recently had a conversation with an immigrant to America, and she was stating that she felt like sometimes Americans take our country for granted. We are so blessed to live here. We are a free nation. And on top of that, despite some of the challenges that we may face in our nation, we are still a country of opportunity and a land of opportunity. And it takes a lot of hard work, but we can really shape our future. And America is a country that allows you to grow and to become who you want. And that is a blessing in itself. And we owe that, in all honesty, to all the men and women who have served prior to today in order to give us those freedoms. So thank you to them, but each and every day we want to say thank you. So if you are out and you are about, and one day you see someone, especially the Vietnam vets, because they didn't get a hero's welcome when they came back to the States, like so many of our other war heroes, but they deserve the honor as well. If you take a moment, some of them, it's hard for them to talk about their stories, but if you stop and you express gratitude, it will definitely be appreciated. Tyler, do you have any vets in your family?
I do actually have active duty military and retired military. Both my grandfathers served in the armed forces. One of them is deceased. My grandfather on my dad's side served during the Korean conflict, and then my uncle on my dad's side, one of my uncles, his sister's husband Arn, was in the Navy during the Persian Gulf War, and then currently his son, my cousin Aiden, is serving in the United States Air Force.
Oh, so a long history of service in your family. So we extend our gratitude to them as well. A lot to still get to on this Wednesday outside of Veterans Day regarding the news, because this is going to be a Veterans Day like no other, because at the end of the day, you have to remember we are still in the middle of this COVID-19 crisis and this crazy pandemic. And so if we can, let's go ahead and just bring you up to date on this Wednesday for the latest headlines. Michigan sets a new daily record for the coronavirus. Michigan's autumn COVID-19 surge continues to worsen, with the state setting another daily case record Tuesday with 6,473 new infections, 84 deaths. The additions bring the state's total number of confirmed cases to just over 223,000. 1,000 cases. And I remember when we were reaching the 100,000 mark, and now we're up to over 200,000 cases of COVID-19 here in the state of Michigan. Confirmed deaths now stand at 7,724. Of course, these numbers are according to the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services. Tuesday's numbers broke a Saturday record of just over 6,000 cases and 65 deaths, and marked the third case record set in just 1 week. Local health departments are investigating 590 outbreaks across the state. Now, that's the largest since the beginning of this pandemic. And we do know that they have different tracking ways right now than they did in the beginning as well. But most of these outbreaks continue to be in these problem areas that we know already exist, such as long-term care facilities, schools, manufacturing plants, construction sites, healthcare, as well as social gatherings, which is going to be interesting, Tyler, going into Thanksgiving, which is just around the corner, and the CDC offering new guidelines, and they're really asking everyone to change your Thanksgiving plans this year. We haven't really discussed it yet here with my family, because typically we just do a smaller gathering per se. Tyler, any change in plans for you and your family this Thanksgiving?
Not as of yet, but I mean, we had previously discussed our Thanksgiving plans. We'd made some plans on my mom's side of the family, just a small gathering. It would likely just be my mom, my stepdad, my brother, and I, and then my mother's sister, my aunt, and my uncle, and possibly their two daughters, my cousins as well. But at this point, with the cases spiking, those plans may change. We haven't discussed that quite yet, letting us see just how the numbers go over the next week or so, and seeing if this does get severe, it would be very likely that would be the case, that we would change those plans, or either delay our Thanksgiving celebration as a family or forego it for the 2020 year.
Well, I'll tell you what, Tyler, I wish you didn't live so far away from me, because I would run by your house in my turkey costume, because that's one thing I'm not going to change. I may not be running, downtown Detroit in the turkey trot, but I will be running throughout Keego Harbor in my turkey costume. You know, bottom line, Tyler, if you buy a costume like that, you have a big turkey, you have to utilize it year after year after year, because you can't pop out the turkey costume other than on Thanksgiving.
No, I mean, if you're popping your turkey costume out any other time of the year, you're just some insane person running down the street dressed as a turkey. But on Thanksgiving, you're just being festive. It's just festive.
Well, some people will think I'm insane either way, but that's okay. We'll go with that. Also, the governor is exploring next steps if COVID case rates worsen here in the state of Michigan. She said Tuesday she's investigating the next steps her administration will take to combat a weeks-long surge and coronavirus cases. The governor said she's having ongoing regular conversations with Michigan's Department of Health and Human Service officials about how to handle the very serious increase in cases. Deaths have not yet reached the devastating early rates of the spring, but health officials fear they could worsen as the state continues the second wave of viral spread that we've been warned about since early in the year. The first stay-at-home order ended at the beginning of June. Since then, most businesses have been allowed to reopen with safety precautions. Keep in mind, though, in early October, the state Supreme Court struck down an unconstitutional, the 1945 law that Whitmer used to issue the previous stay-at-home order. My guess, if she still had control to do so, she would have already put some new restrictions in place. But again, due to the state Supreme Court decision, the governor can no longer issue these executive orders. Tyler, have to tell you, I'm quite surprised that they have not issued tougher restrictions prior to right now.
Yeah, I'm relatively surprised too, especially seeing this recent spike in COVID-19 cases, and really across the country we're seeing hospitalization numbers going up as well. Not quite on our side of the state here in Michigan, but on the west side of the state especially. I have a lot of family over there, and And I read their newspaper articles as well, and in places like Muskegon, hospitals are starting to fill up with COVID-19 patients again. I saw some data yesterday that across the country there are currently more hospitalizations because of COVID-19 than there were early on in the pandemic. So Michigan right now in a better spot than in some places, but the spike is still very much in play right now, and it wouldn't be surprising if in the near future we do have some of those previous regulations that maybe were in place through the governor come down through the health department, or even in a bipartisan nature, possibly less likely through the state legislature.
Yeah, it seems like the state lawmakers, with the Republicans in control right now, not so quick to pass some of these requests from the governor, such as a statewide mask mandate. However, we have to keep in mind that through the health department, there is still a mask mandate in place. Meanwhile, the governor also wants to continue to utilize the Michigan National Guard to help combat the spread of the coronavirus. She's penned a letter to President Donald Trump requesting an extension to do so. Whitmer submitted the letter to Trump Tuesday requesting an extension of Title 32 authority in order to use Michigan National Guard forces through the end of March for the COVID-19 response and vaccine-related activities. Title 32 status, which provides for federal pay and benefits, is currently authorized by the president through the end of the year. Since the COVID-19 pandemic began, Michigan National Guard members have helped distribute more than 14 million pounds of food at food banks, delivered test and protective equipment across the state, and assisted with testing more than 200,000 Michiganders for COVID-19, according to state officials. And she's saying that, hey, we need to keep this in place, at least get us through the first phase of March, because I think what we're going to see is, fingers crossed, they're now saying that we could have a vaccine. One of the issues when we get a vaccine is how to distribute it. And the Michigan National Guard could really play a key role in being able to help us get that vaccine out to the public. Especially now, Tyler, I don't know if you've seen the news reports, and one of the things about the new vaccine that's so promising coming out of Pfizer is it has to be stored at such crazy cold temperatures. And so that is going to really kind of offer a different strategy on how to be able to make it, store it, and get it delivered. And so the Michigan National Guard could be pretty vital in getting that done.
Yeah, they certainly would have the resources to store these vaccines properly, to distribute them evenly in places where they need to be primarily distributed first, and then to the general public, to make sure there isn't a rush to doctors' offices, or that people are behaving less than well in their pursuit of this vaccine. And the National Guard is trained for situations like this as well, distributing these sorts of vaccines in situations such as pandemics. So it's not surprising to see Governor Whitmer asking for further National Guard help through March, when we would likely have a vaccine already in distribution or well into distribution by then, in order to make sure that it is done cleanly and it is done efficiently and safely, more than anything, here in Michigan.
Yeah, so, but a lot of people will be excited to get that vaccine. Hopefully it will be as effective as they are anticipating that it could be, which they're saying at this point, it does look like the vaccine could actually be more Effective than the flu vaccine. Because, we have to remember the flu vaccine does wear off. We get a new flu vaccine every year. The strain changes as well. So some good news, it looks like, coming regarding this possible new vaccine from Pfizer, which is also a big attribute here, a big company here in the state of Michigan. So to the entire team at Pfizer, but they're not the only company making a vaccine right now. There are several other ones working on them as well. So hopefully between all these companies working together and through their collaboration, we're going to have an answer to this crisis, which is going to bring this pandemic to an end, and it cannot happen soon enough. although they are saying by the time this is widely available to the public, we're looking at really as late as March or April. So just to let everyone here in the state of Michigan know that we're probably going to have to survive the winter and with this crisis amongst us. And you know what that means, Tyler? Just a lot of break out the crock pot, make a lot of soup, and, stay home and watch Netflix and Amazon Prime and anything else that's on TV right now.
Yeah, just pretend that we're back in those first couple of months of the pandemic. You're staying at home, you're catching up on things, you're taking a load off or relaxing, just trying to catch your breath from the year up until that point and saying, okay, we'll be home for a few more weeks, a couple more months here, and then we'll be back to some sort of normalcy. You just got to kind of bide your time and wait for that vaccine, because it is going to start out being for people that need it the most, and then going to the general public from there, Ronnie.
And the weather is starting to turn, not quite as warm today, still feeling like fall, but winter will be here before we know it. Keep in mind, everyone, last year at this time we had about 8 inches of snow on the ground. So yeah. Winter will be here before we know it. With that, we have a great show ahead here on the Wednesday edition of the Oakland County Megacast for you. When we come back, we'll be speaking with the chief of the fire department over at West Bloomfield, Chief Greg Flynn. Always great to have him on the show with us. Also, the police chief out of the city of Keego Harbor. And then also we'll be speaking with the co-founder and past president of Blue Star Mothers of America. So a lot to get to on the Wednesday edition of the Oakland County Megacast.
Hi, I'm Dr. Jonae Caldoon. I'm the Chief Medical Executive for the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services. The people who are at highest risk of getting severely ill from COVID-19 are the elderly and those with chronic medical conditions. That includes people with heart disease, diabetes, COPD, or those who have compromised immune systems. People who are in those categories should right now be staying at home as much as possible and not going out if it is not essential. If you fit into one of those categories, those are the things you should do. And if you have a family member who fits into one of those categories, you should be checking in on them and making sure they are following those guidelines. There's something everyone can do to protect the community from COVID-19.
This may seem uncomfortable, but so is being hooked to an IV, sleeping in a hospital bed, and fighting for your life. When it comes to COVID-19, comfort is not as important as saving lives. Wearing a mask can greatly reduce the chance of spreading the virus. So mask up, Michigan, every time you leave home.
Tuning in to the Wednesday edition of the Oakland County Megacast. I'm Ronnie Dahl here in my home office studio, aka the guest bedroom, while Tyler holds down things live back at the Civic Center TV studios there in the West Bloomfield area. And just a reminder, you can catch us Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. to noon here on CivicCenterTV.com. You can catch us on Comcast Channel 1599 on AT&T. And also, if you are out driving around, tune in to 89.3 Lakes FM or 88.1 FM The Biff. So pretty much you can catch us everywhere. And then today we want to say thank you to the West Bloomfield Parks Department for allowing us to live stream today's edition of the Oakland County Megacast on their Facebook page. So we want to say thank you to them. We are happy to bring in with us again the chief of the West Bloomfield Fire Department, Chief Greg Flynn. We were just kind of talking off camera. You usually do the turkey trot. Chief, I'm a little disappointed if you don't have a turkey costume. I actually have two. I'll be happy to loan you one.
Uh-oh. Yeah, well, I would be all in. We are definitely going to miss the turkey trot this year. It's a great way as a family to start, and then as a community, just to be downtown and running through the streets with thousands of people and the music blasting and just everybody cheering and high-fiving. all the things that we can't do anymore. It violates every COVID rule that's out there. So, I'm hoping to have the motivation to get up that morning and do a 5K just around the neighborhood. So.
Well, and a lot of people don't realize is that it actually supports a lot of good companies or a lot of good organizations. It's not just a fun time for everyone to get out there and celebrate and, be goofy and get out there and do a 5K run or walk. But they do help a lot of charities. So anyone that typically does it, Chief, if you and your family typically do it, you could still sign up virtually. So you could still get your medal. For me, when I do these races, it's all about the medal. Sure. Just, it's you need a little bragging rights. And so you could still do that and still support some of these charities and these organizations. And Chief, putting that aside, we just heard the news coming out yesterday. The Troy the Troy Fire Department had to shut down one of its firehouses due to an outbreak of COVID within the firehouse. How worried are you about that as we go into the second surge?
Worry wouldn't be a term that I would use, Ronnie. I would reframe that to say how prepared we are for when COVID strikes. So with the amount of community spread, we look all the way back to March when this started. We had 3 cases internally in the first few days of March. This was actually before there was real clarity that the virus had officially, if you will, arrived. And the same extended care facility that was the first case documented in West Bloomfield was the same place that our medics were in the day before. And we feel that through our contact tracing that's where our medics were most vulnerable. Nobody was hospitalized and all 3 medics recovered without issue. We've gone a long stretch since we've had another case, and that's because of the professionals and the plan that's in place of deconning the station, using our physical distancing, all the same things that our businesses are doing. That's where we're most vulnerable now, is that the workforce, our school teachers, the people that are actually executing in the workplace are the ones that are succumbing to the disease. And again, 80% of those folks still, I believe that number is still a relatively good number, are going to convalesce at home. They're going to have the generalized just malaise and weakness and flu-like symptoms. They're going to consult with their physician over the phone like we've been recommending since the get-go. And then they're going to return to work after they're feeling better. And we've experienced a little bit of that here at the FD, but our plan is in place. We're executing the plan, and there's been no interruption in service. I have no intentions of closing a fire station in West Bloomfield.
And Chief, knowing that rapid tests have really helped, and trying to help not just, police departments and fire departments across the country navigate these potential outbreaks, but also businesses as well. So are you utilizing rapid testing? And if so, how concerned are you with the accuracy of some of those rapid tests?
So we're using everything at our disposal with our healthcare professional colleagues. We may institute the rapid test as an initial indicator, but we're also following that with the more conclusive and more reliable nasal pharyngeal swab test. So we can take a test that we know is more reliable to be a false positive. Make sure I get that right. So more than likely, it's going to give us an indication that if the person is symptomatic and we get a positive test off of the rapid test, we're finding that the follow-up test, the nasal pharyngeal swab, is also positive. What we're not seeing is if we have an asymptomatic firefighter that's been exposed that we're getting tested with the rapid test, we're not seeing a negative on the rapid test and a positive on the oropharyngeal swab test. So my point is that it's a good early indicator as to what our exposure and what the impact to the organization is going to be. But we do not rely solely on the rapid test. We know that it's vulnerable and it's lower reliability than the other testing available.
But what you were just stating and how you're utilizing seems to be a good indicator about how businesses should, utilize the test as well. Because we've all heard it back in the beginning, there was a lot of discussion about the accuracy of some of these tests. but it seems that one thing that's been good to come out of this, number one, is the testing is getting better, and also just the number of test sites test sites that are available. I mean, I remember back in the beginning, you were hard to even get a test, because they were so short on testing. As far as the supply chain, from your standpoint, does it look like you're going to run into those short testing supplies that we had in the beginning, or has that pretty much been addressed by now?
I think that the stakeholders on that end, on the supply chain, and those on the lab side of things have really gone to great lengths to support that supply, to strengthen that supply chain. And again, that's globally. So everybody's going after these materials. And I think that the supply, the producers have ramped up production. So, don't quote me on that one. I'm not, intimately involved with that, but I'm not hearing the indications downstream that those problems are still existing. We're seeing testing results routinely, not 100%, but routinely, we're getting results back within 36 to 48 hours on the oropharyngeal swab. So that's nasopharyngeal swab. So that's what we want and where we want to be. So we're content with that. We always want it faster. We always want to know right now. And again, Ronnie, Tyler, look at where we were back in March. We're not even a year into this thing. And look at the innovation and the just overall increase in reliability of the testing. I mean, some people have done some really fantastic things. I just saw a commercial, I think it was for Costco, that they kind of have an at-home test kit or something that maybe you do your sample and it somehow goes through some testing and can get you some results. I don't think that's going to be too far away where if needed, businesses are going to have some of that capability. My son's at Michigan for his freshman year, and he has access to be able to go down and pretty much get a test anytime that he needs to.
Yeah, I think one of the great things that may come out of this, the collaboration that we're seeing within the medical field. Think about it, from the fact that we're less than a year into this, and we already have a potential of not one vaccine, but several vaccines. And I think had this not been a global crisis, we maybe wouldn't have seen that. It seems like some of these companies and businesses and countries are putting competition aside for the health of our country. And let's hope that collaboration continues post-pandemic, and with some of these other diseases that we continue to fight and continue to look for solutions to, such as various cancers and Alzheimer's, and the list goes on. So that's one of the good things. Chief, while we have you on here, today is Veterans Day. We had you out there earlier this week. I know that you went to the luncheon. Talk a little bit about the importance of hiring some of the men and women that have served our country, and that military service. What does that bring to a community when you hire them on to the fire department?
Well, again, I want to express my sincere gratitude to all of our veterans. We have hired many veterans here. We celebrated the Marine Corps birthday yesterday. Both my dad and my brother are Marines, and I know that's a big day for them. But all of our veterans and the celebrations that are taking place today, on behalf of the West Bloomfield Fire Department, our sincere gratitude for their service. As for someone who has served in the military transitioning into a service within a municipality, within the fire department or police department, it is a very good transition. It's a smooth transition. They have this career of service to country, and we're going to take that and distill it down just a little bit to service to community. And it's very applicable. The paramilitary organization provides a little bit more flexibility as many of these folks are starting to grow a family. And so sometimes military life might have a little bit more of a rigid type format, whereas working for a municipality, working for local government is going to provide more flexibility, but still a little bit of that paramilitary rank structure, things that many of us really like. I've really enjoyed my career in understanding a clear chain of command and who to talk to and who's your boss. And that makes for a good workplace environment for so many people.
So, Chief, if someone is out there listening right now, they're a member of the military about to get out. I do think the military does a pretty good job of trying to help transition some of their members out into the civilian sector. However, I know that when I was doing the recruiting for ATF, sometimes it was hard to get them to be able to put their experience that from the military into layman's terms. And even those conversations and those like one-on-one personal interviews. So if I'm someone who's in the military, I'm transitioning out, what advice would you give to them when it comes to trying to get hired on with a local department and how they can phrase their military experience into layman's terms so that a regular person can understand?
Well, I think when we have someone who has served in the military across the table when we're doing interviews, the thing that I'm looking for is really, you're right. Some of that may be difficult, especially someone who hasn't served in the military, to completely understand what that looks like. But here's what I do understand. I understand commitment. I understand core values. And I understand that that intrinsic drive to do well, whatever the job is in front of you, and what that commitment is to duty, the commitment to an organization and putting that organization above self. And those are those attributes that translate so very nicely into local government service from the military. And so while I remember my brother was a tank specialist, and he was a part of a unit that was a tank destroyer unit, a tow missile specialist. And as his younger brother, I loved hearing about that. And so some of it does translate over, but the details, you're right, can be very challenging for folks that aren't in it. Just like me starting to talk a lot about the fire service and different terms and the lingo that goes with it can be a little bit difficult to discern to someone that's not involved with it. So they do have a little bit of a challenge of bringing that terminology down. But the thing that we all can communicate with as a boss, as a guy that's going to hire somebody, I really am looking for those core values, what drives that individual. We can really take anybody with the right attitude and the right commitment and make them into a wonderful paramedic firefighter. It's very difficult to teach pride. It's very difficult to teach a real positive attitude and approach to life. But if you're coming to that already and the military has instilled that in you, that's something that we're going to see across that table and something that we're going to want to make part of our organization.
Well, Chief, it's always great having you with us here on the Oakland County Megacast. Quickly before we let you go and bring in the Chief from the Keego Harbor Police Department, anything we didn't touch on that maybe you want to share with the listeners and the viewers right now?
Well, again, I just want to, and I know it sounds a little bit like a broken record, to just encourage people to keep up their commitment to stopping the spread of the novel coronavirus, that you're doing a good job, and let's not stop. And if our governor and the leadership within the legislators within Michigan or at a national level encourage us to wear our masks more often, to wear them out in public, let's embrace that and see what's positive about it, and really think of others around us. Not so much just focused on ourselves, but focused on others and the service to others. And together, along with this virus, the planning that we're doing as an emergency operations center, both at a local and county level, for distribution of the vaccine, all of that's going to come together. But you are part of the plan. Each and every one of us is part of that plan, and our team to execute that plan. And that plan, that execution is only as strong as its weakest link. And so please, please, please don't be that weak link.
I know, as much as you say it, we all still need those reminders, because we can get a little too comfortable It's like you said, how many months into this and people are feeling fatigue. But I think as we go into the winter months, it's going to be a stark reminder, as these latest numbers already are. So thank you so much. And Chief Greg Flynn with us here on the Oakland County Megacast. Could you also just extend our gratitude to your family members for their service as well? We so appreciate it. Please let them know that they are thought of on this day and every day, and their sacrifice is much appreciated. Chief Greg Flynn with us on the Oakland County Megacast. We're going to take a quick break here, and then when we come back, we'll be bringing in the Chief of Police of our fine city here in Keego Harbor, Michigan.
Hi, my name is Kurt Lawson, and I'm the Public Information Officer for West Bloomfield Township. We wanted to reach out to you, our older adults, to provide information that you may find useful during this difficult time. We want to ensure you that West Bloomfield Town Hall, our Waters and Utility Department, West Bloomfield Parks, and our police and fire departments continue to work hard on your behalf. Information and resources can be found on the Township website, the police Facebook and Twitter, or call West Bloomfield Parks COVID-19 Help Hotline. Please remember to keep your social distance of at least 6 feet, wear facial coverings when you leave your home, and wash your hands for at least 20 seconds with soap. These precautions will help keep you safe during these difficult times.
As rivals, we don't always see eye to eye.
Like who scored the best recruits?
Who's gonna be who?
And whether we wear green or blue.
But one thing we can all agree on to help stop the spread of COVID-19. Wear a mask.
Wear a mask.
Wear a mask.
Wear a mask. Wear a mask.
The ball's in your court, Michigan.
Welcome back to the Wednesday edition of the Oakland County Megacast. I'm Ronnie Dahl, alongside the one, the only Mr. Tyler Keefe, who is holding things down back at the studios over there at Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM. We want to say thank you to him. Also want to say thank you to the West Bloomfield Parks Department for allowing us to live stream today's edition of the Oakland County Megacast on their Facebook page today. So we want to say thank you to them. Keeping on with a day of service here on the Oakland County Megacast. As all of you are well aware, today is Veterans Day, a day that we say thank you and salute and honor all the men and women who have served our great country. And so many more people are continuing to do that by serving in our areas of public safety, and that includes our police departments. Let's bring in Chief John Fitzgerald right now on the Oakland County Megacast. He is the Chief of Police in our fine city of Keego Harbor. Thank you for being with us, Chief. It's great to have you on this Veterans Day.
Good morning, Ronnie. Good morning, Tyler.
And Chief, I know Keego has a small police department. Do you have any vets serving on your department?
We do. Officer James Cote was a member of the United States Air Force, and we're proud that he did do his service for us.
Well, please extend my gratitude to Cote as well for his service, and he is such a huge attribution here to the city of Keego Harbor. Everyone knows who Cote is. If you don't know him, if you have a boat, you know him from the water. If you don't have a boat, you know him if you're out on the streets, because he's the one giving cookies out to all the dogs. And I have to tell you, it was so cute the other morning. I was coming into the studio, past him, and he was talking to the owner. The dog, I don't know, it looked like a small pony. I don't think it was a dog, it was a pony. And it was like a St. Bernard or something, well over 100 pounds. And he's giving the dog cookies. I'm like, no, I think Cote, you need like a box for that dog.
Yeah, he's well known for that, for treating the dogs right and for being out on the lake and taking care of the boaters. And he's just been a face around Keego for quite a while now, I think since around 2000.
And Chief, knowing that, how important is it as the chief of a small police department to have that community interaction?
I think that's what it's all about. A city like this, and actually it's almost any city, because you even see it with Chief Craig in Detroit being out and interacting with the community. But especially a place like this, I want to know the people. I want them to know me, all in a good way, we hope. And our officers, their main job is to be out in the neighborhoods, be seen, let the people know that they're looking out over their things, they're looking out over them, they're meeting them. That's what I think small town police work is about, that we're there, they know who's there to protect and serve them.
Chief John Fitzgerald with us here on the Oakland County Megacast. He is the police chief here for our fine city of Keego Harbor. Chief, you're into the job over a year now, but you're also trying to police a city in the middle of a pandemic. And now we're seeing an upswing in this crisis. What are you worried about going into the winter months?
Just worried about everybody trying to take care of themselves the best as possible. The city has just redone its COVID policy for the employees and how we're supposed to be acting and what we're supposed to be doing. We're taking as many precautions as we can around here. But I just was talking to my own doctor 2 days ago for my physical and asking him about it. And he had worked in one of the COVID units when the pandemic really broke earlier this year. And his main thing to me was your hygiene. Washing your hands and not touching your face and your eyes and your nose with your hands. Like he said, that the virus could get on a surface, but if you're doing your proper hygiene and using your hand sanitizer and things like that, you're going to protect yourself very well. I hate to speak ahead of time, it's like knock on wood type of thing. We've done a good job with our officers in Keego. We only had a couple of days lost while we waited for some tests to come back that were luckily negative. And we're going to hope it keeps going that way by, the officers cleaning their cars when they get into them, out of them every day so that the next person doesn't get anything. Wearing our masks when we're in and out of our offices and around the station, around City Hall. We're just trying to follow the protocols that are put in place by the health officials. And so far it's been working well for us. And I hope everybody else uses the same thing and it works well for them too.
Well, one of the things we are seeing is there is an increase of cases in the Sylvan Lake and Keego Harbor area. So I tracked the number on the Oakland County Health Department's page. Anyone can do this. You put in your zip code for us, 48320, includes Sylvan and Keego, and we've seen an uptick in cases here recently for our two areas. And knowing that, plus you have such a small department, it feels like if one person gets it, what does that do for your entire schedule if you have to knock out 2 or 3 employees because they've been exposed?
Well, it's happened to other departments. I think DeWitt had a problem where the whole department had to close down for it. Unfortunately, they lost a Sergeant Darnell to COVID just this week, I believe it was, or I think on the 4th of November, and our condolences go out to the DeWitt Police Department over by Lansing. So it shows it can be dangerous, but another thing to remember, and I'm not a health expert, but a lot of people panic, especially if they happen to catch it or not. Remember, it's never a death sentence. You can fight it. You don't just turn over and give up. One of my friends from my old days in Southfield, 70, I think he's 8 years old. He was on a ventilator for over 70 days. They did a story on him on Channel 7 recently, and it took a lot of work, but he came back to it, and he's back at home recovering. And so it's something you can survive if you get it. People should remember that.
Wow. And the good thing, too, is we do know that they know how to treat it differently than what they did in the very beginning of this crisis. So that is the good thing. And we are wishing you and your entire department to stay safe and to stay healthy. Chief, today, as we mentioned, is Veterans Day, a day that we honor all those that have served before us. Knowing that, what you have Officer Cote is on your department, what do you look for when you're hiring new police officers to join the force? And can some of the experiences that they had, if they were military members, translate to a small town police department?
I think they can. Like Officer Cote, I believe, was a military police officer before, and I worked with, when I was in Southfield, numerous veterans, and many of them actually worked in military as military police officers too. So there's some police experience right up front to begin with, which is very transferable over to our municipal police departments. I like the sense of discipline that a military member has, a sense of knowing the chain of command, a sense of the paramilitary organization, and a sense of duty. I mean, if they were willing to volunteer for their country, you know they have a sense of duty to help protect it and keep it safe. And if they step forward to continue to do that as a police officer, firefighter, paramedic, whatever, what have you, in public service like that, it's much appreciated. I think they have a lot to offer.
So, Chief, when you're hiring someone, what are the qualities that you are looking for? I know when I was with ATF, especially with the military individuals, part of the process was trying to teach them to be able to translate their experience, but put it in layman's terms, because if you're doing a one-on-one interview, you can quickly lose people with all the acronyms.
That's very true. You want to bring them back to civilian life, because the military is its own way of life. I say unfortunately, because I was never a member of the military, but I was surrounded by them in Southfield, and I was proud to serve with them on the police department. And I could watch them go back and forth with each other, the Marine Corps, the Air Force, the Navy, the Army guys, and how they went at each other in a fun way. And you just have to step back and let that, you weren't part of it, so you can't say anything, but you realize there is a different sense of camaraderie and lifestyle, and you hope they can bring that to the police department with them, because a police department or a fire department has its own sense of camaraderie and lifestyle also. And, it's a job we have to live. It's a mindset also.
Chief John Fitzgerald with us here on the Oakland County Megacast. He is the chief of the city of Keego Harbor here in the greater West Bloomfield area. Always great having you with us here on the Oakland County Megacast, Chief. And we can just kind of touch on some of the businesses here in the city of Keego Harbor. It's extremely hard for the restaurants right now as we bend this corner trying to go into the winter months. I know that last week it was kind of an issue when the health department put down this mandate that they start collecting employee information. However, the health department has now rolled back some of those restrictions. Anything that you're seeing from the police department side regarding some of these stricter requests with the local businesses?
We haven't had anything here with the police department. Unfortunately, we have seen the results of COVID with some of the restaurants. Some of my favorite restaurants have actually closed down temporarily due to an employee coming across with COVID or some exposure to it. And I think we're going to see probably a little bit more of that, of some of our places closing down, not by order, but by the fact that, it won't be a lockdown. It's just that some of the employees contract COVID. And like I said, we're seeing it in some of my favorite area restaurants. They're not all right here in Keego, but close by. So we all still have to be careful with our hygiene when we're going out to eat and our social distancing.
And with that, Chief, so one of the things I've noticed, I was at the grocery store this week, and they're starting to put limitations again on some of these items. I mean, toilet paper and I would say paper towels, getting easier to find right now. You still have trouble getting wipes and disinfectant spray, but now we're seeing those limitations come down as the second wave is upon us. Any concern from you and your department that you're having so far about trying to get supplies, or were you able to stock up, and if there is a shortage, you're going to be okay for a while?
We hope that we're going to be okay for a while. We stocked up a little bit at a time, and that's how I'd recommend it for everybody. Don't just go in and buy everything off the shelf, because that leaves nothing for somebody else, and then the panic happens, and then you get those rushes on any items. There's no need to do that. You get a little bit, then you come back later and get a little bit more. That's how we've built up a little bit of a stockpile so that the police department and City Hall can be safer. But remember, there's a lot of people out there that need things, and I see no reason to go grab as much as you can.
I know, it's crazy when you go in and you see people go nuts. I did say to some lady in Target a few weeks ago, I was like, hey, do you have to buy all of them? It was disinfectant wipes, and she just wiped them out. And I was like, come on. But yeah.
I like the limit.
I always look at it, I want my neighbors to be able to disinfect whatever they need to disinfect. That's going to protect me at the end of the day too, right?
Yeah, absolutely. If your neighbor gets it or your other family member catches it because they couldn't get the supplies they needed, well, then it's going to come back around. So just remember it's kind of that be kind to other people type thing that we like to see in all aspects of life.
Chief, anything we didn't touch upon that you want to get out to the public before we let you go?
Well, I didn't mean to look so scruffy on camera today, but the Keego Harbor Police Department's participating in No Shave November for several different charities. Each officer that wanted to participate, and some don't even want to grow the beard, they just want to participate. They make a donation to their favorite charity, and we're going to post each of their charities on our Facebook page with a donate button. So if you want to help them match and make a better impact on the charity that they're looking at, for the next few days, keep an eye on our Facebook page. We'll be posting those charities up there and hope you can help out along with us on those things.
Oh, so a little competition going on there in the Keego Harbor Police Department.
Friendly competition for a good cause. Every one of these is a good cause, and we hope that we can bring a little help, a little, for like I said, the different ones that each officer picked their own charity, because we all have our own interests. So instead of just telling everybody it's going to be one charity, we let them pick their own, and then you'll be able to see what they are on our Facebook page over the next few days. And if you want to donate along to help out, we'd appreciate it.
And you guys do have a good social media site there. I know you have a lot of followers in the city of Keego Harbor. I have a suggestion, though, to help increase those donations. Get with the significant other, like the wives, because I'm sure if you said, hey, could you donate to my cause to make him shave, then you could double your money. Because I will tell you, when my husband doesn't shave, it drives me crazy. And when he goes on vacation, he tries to do this little goatee thing. I'm like, no, that look does not work for you. Go shave. I would pay money for that. So just kind of a thought that you might want to think about.
That's a good suggestion. I know we do have a couple of wives that do like the beards, and we have a couple that say, can you please not do No Shave November? I don't want them looking that scruffy. But it's all for a good cause, and that's what we're trying to help with.
It is, but it's also a lot of pressure on the guys that can't grow a beard.
Well, that's why we tell them you don't have to try and grow one, especially if it's not going to come in very well. Some of these guys, I don't even like wearing a beard. So I said, well, it's not about wearing the beard then, it's about helping out your favorite charity.
Well, we wish you and your entire team good luck. And again, thank you to Officer Cote for his service as well as a member of our military. We want to say thank you to him, and we'll be looking to your Facebook page to try to help some of the officers and help support some of the nonprofits that they are raising money for.
Okay, it'll be a few days before those are popped on there, but they will be on there. And as the head representative of the Keego Harbor Police Department, I do want to thank all the veterans across this country, whether you volunteered, whether you were drafted, the fact that you went and served, you went where you were called to. My dad, all my uncles, they were all members of different branches of the service. Thank you to them personally, but thank you to all our veterans. You've gone over and above what any of us have done for the country, and thank you.
And I know they appreciate it today and every day. We're going to take a quick break here on the Oakland County Megacast. We have a lot to get to in the next hour.
Michigan, we still need to stay careful because we don't want to go backwards, back to where we started. So keep standing 6 feet apart. Keep wearing a mask in public. And if you have symptoms, talk to a healthcare provider about getting tested. To move forward, let's all do our part. So stay careful. Michigan.gov/coronavirus.
Hi, I'm Dr. Faust, the Medical Director for the Oakland County Health Division. The most important thing you can do to prevent the spread of illness is to wash your hands thoroughly and often. Follow these 6 easy steps every time you wash your hands. Step 1, turn on the sink and wet your hands with warm water. Step 2, apply soap to your hands and lather between your fingers, under your nails, and the front and back of your hands and wrists. Step 3, Wash your hands by scrubbing them together for at least 20 seconds. Step 4, rinse your hands with warm, clean water. And step 5, dry your hands with a clean cloth towel, a paper towel, or hot air blow dryer. If you're using a cloth towel, make sure to change it often. For handheld faucets, turn off the water using a paper towel instead of your bare hand. Step 6, if you're using a paper towel, throw it away. Practice healthy habits like washing your hands after coughing or sneezing into them to keep you and others healthy. Go to oakgov.com/health or call Nurse on Call at 1-800-848-5533 to learn more.
Always great to have you with us on the Wednesday edition of the Oakland County Megacast. I'm Ronnie Dahl here in my home studio, aka the bedroom, Tyler, while Tyler Keefe holds things down back at the studio. Tyler, I miss being next to you.
Well, you know, there's always tomorrow, Ronnie.
There is always tomorrow. And I'm hoping that everyone is not hearing the craziness downstairs. We had contractors show up today to start work. And so my dog's been barking like crazy.
I don't hear anything. I don't hear anything. No, I haven't heard
the moose
anything.
Of the dog. I feel like, oh my God, everyone's listening.
I have not heard the moose of a dog, no.
Well, but my apologize to anyone that may be hearing that. But again, thank you to everyone for allowing me to work from home. I know it's kind of an extra pain in the butt for our crew back there at civiccentertv.com, but I'm blaming it on the Lions because they switched my husband's schedule. And so once again, I get screwed by the Lions, Tyler.
You know what? Just for that, they should fire their head coach. Just for that. That no other reason. Just that.
I have a feeling that this could be his last year.
Oh, no.
Hey, but we want to say thank you, everyone, for tuning into the second hour of the Oakland County Megacast on this Wednesday, November 11th. Today is Veterans Day as we take time out to honor and to thank everyone that have served our great country. Just a reminder, you can catch us on civiccentertv.com as well as Birmingham Area Municipal Access. Catch us on 89.3 Lakes FM, 88.1 FM The Biff. And then also, if you do still have cable, we want to say thank you because a part of your fee does help support programming such as this, and you can catch us on Comcast as well as on AT&T. So thank you to them, and a huge shout out as well to the West Bloomfield Parks Department today for allowing us to live stream today's edition of the Oakland County Megacast. As I mentioned, today is Veterans Day, and as a way to pay honor and to say thank you to all of those that have served our country. We'd like to remind you, for the men and women of our armed services, they serve every day. And if you see someone out, just say thank you to them because it is much appreciated. And also remember to show gratitude to the family members as well, because it's not just the individuals serving, it is also felt by the family members as well. Joining us now on the Oakland County Megacast is Carmen Johnson. And she is the co-founder and past president of Blue Star Mothers of America. Thank you for being with us. We so appreciate it.
Thank you, Ronnie. It was a pleasure being here.
So, and tell us who serves in your family?
Oh my goodness. Who doesn't serve in my family? That's the question. So I am not only a mother of military, I'm a wife of former military, I'm a daughter of a military member, I'm a granddaughter of a military member, I'm a niece, I'm a daughter-in-law, I'm a cousin, and I'm also an aunt. So I have a lot of military in my family. I thought that was normal, but I'm finding out it's not. It's very unusual, but we do have a very strong military family.
Oh, well, thank you to you and your family members as well. We so appreciate the sacrifice, and talk about the sacrifice that you've experienced as being a mother and a wife of people who are serving. What's it like for you when you're at home?
I think a lot of moms that have children that serve in the military are concerned about their children. Of course, we love our children. We love our spouses that serve. We're very proud of the fact that they are serving. You know, our country is a wonderful country, and I'm very proud that my children and my spouse and my father and my grandfather have all served this country. It's not a perfect country, but it's the best country we have going. And I've got to tell you, I'm very, very proud that my children serve.
Oh, and so tell us about Blue Star Mothers of America. It grew out of Flint?
That's correct. Let me give you a little history. Captain Maines, back in 1942, recognized the fact that the mothers were actually impacting the morale of the troops. And so in order to encourage the morale, he decided that it would be a good idea to bring the mothers together back in January of 1942, and that was during World War II. And he asked for them to come to a hotel. What he didn't realize is how many mothers would be attending. And the mothers flocked the DuPont Hotel in Flint, Michigan. He responded to an ad that was in the newspaper, and they came in droves. Now, you ask, well, why did they do that? Because it's the mothers of our military need the support of a group of other mothers who understand. You know, there's a lot of moms out there that ask me, why would you put your child in harm's way? That's an interesting question. Because I think the concept is when your child goes into the military, that they're going to be fighting on the front line with a rifle. But what they don't understand is that there are over 150 different career opportunities in career groups in the Army alone, not to mention the ones in the Air Force, not to mention the ones in the Navy and the Marines. There's a lot of different jobs. You know, I want to step back and I want to talk about the fact that my dad, when he served the military, he served with a slide ruler in the back of a van. He was measuring the angles. He was in the field, but he measured the angles that the rockets need to go with a slide rule. My husband was a medic, and he served with a medic's bag. He was a part of and attached to the 82nd Airborne, and they jumped out of perfectly good airplanes, he likes to say. But with his medic's bag, he was able to help the troops that fell and might have broken a bone or might have injured themselves in the fall. So my husband served with a medic's bag. My sons served behind a computer. One of them in the Army served observing the skies in a defense type role. And then my other son was IT for the Coast Guard. And he was connecting phone lines and connecting computers right here in our great USA. And so there's so many different jobs. People don't realize the different types of jobs that are available. Any career field you can think of is represented in our military. So to think that they're all running out and with a machine gun, that is not true at all. And I think when you realize what wonderful opportunities there are for learning the trades, going to school paid for by the government so that you can become an officer and a leader in our military, it's a wonderful opportunity. There's also opportunities after leaving. With our veterans have wonderful GI benefits that come along with their service. So yes, our moms are concerned about our children, but it's not in the same way that a lot of other mothers think that we're concerned. We're concerned about the training that they're going through and staying all week out in the field and what that's like for them and getting poison ivy and things like that. But us moms need to get together. The Blue Star Mothers organization was founded back in 1942, but there are chapters all over the country. We have many chapters across our state of Michigan, And I was fortunate to be the one who helped to found the one here in the Detroit area, along with some other mothers and myself. We put together the organization, and the objective of the organization of Blue Star Mothers is threefold. Number one, we want to support the veterans that we have here in our state. Our Blue Star Mothers go down to the Dingle Hospital, the Dingle VA Hospital downtown, and we encourage the veterans who are there. We also work with an organization called the Piquette Square. I don't know if you're familiar with Southwest Solutions from the city of Detroit, but Piquette Square is specifically a housing facility for our veterans who may have been homeless and need to start their residential journey in civilian life. So we support our veterans that way. We also support our military troops who are active, and we send care packages and wonderful things during the holidays. We also support their families who are here waiting for them to return. And then the last thing we do is support each other. And we have wonderful monthly meetings, and we get together and support each other and talk about where our children are and the concerns that we might have. And we share those with other military moms who get it. So it's a wonderful organization.
And Carmen, how important is it for you and the other mothers to have this support group?
It's very important. You know, a lot of moms think that, well, it's just like your child going to college, right? They're gone and then you see them over the holidays, and isn't it just the same? Well, no, it's not, because your children are gone for extended periods of time. And only another military mom would understand the concern that you have, the loneliness that a mother has, the concern for her child who is lonely. You know, military service, I think the biggest thing that happens in military service is loneliness for our men and women who serve. And so it is important for us to support each other as moms, but also to give the love that we know that our military members need, and make them aware that we do know that they're there, we care about them, we are proud of them, and we encourage them in their service.
So as a mother and a wife and, you know, a daughter of people who have served in the military, especially your kids, how did you see them change as to who they were before they went into the military and who they were when they came out?
You know, the biggest change happens right after boot camp. There's no longer a mom to pick up the pieces. They're responsible for themselves. They have to take responsibility for their own actions. And when your child comes back from boot camp, they're no longer a boy. They're a man. They're no longer your daughter, your girl, someone to have to take care of. They're a grown woman. And that is so clear right after boot camp. It continues then on as they develop themselves, they develop their career goals, they develop their leadership skills. Because in our military, they are very strong about bringing people up from the inside. So they develop their leaders, and that is something that they do very, very, very well. They teach their leaders a very strong sense of responsibility. So that is a huge change when your child comes home.
Wow, I just can imagine what it's like to witness that. Carmen Johnson with us here on the Oakland County Megacast. She's the co-founder and past president for the Blue Star Mothers of America, a great organization doing so much to support our men and women in the military. And I have to wonder, my nephew, he was in the Army, and during the Iraq War, watching my sister and my brother-in-law absorb the news. She watched all the time. He couldn't watch it all. How were you as a mother when there is a war going on and you're stuck at home waiting for that phone call? How did you react to those moments?
Well, we are flip-flop. My husband can watch the news. I can't. So even a military film, I have a very difficult time even watching that. So I protect myself, my emotions, by not watching the news. I like to hear from my own son, both of them, my own sons. The one who was IT for the Coast Guard is now a doctor for the Navy. He's down in Yuma, Arizona, currently serving. as a doctor. So I like to hear the news from him, what's happening. The concern that I have this year is that my son and his wife are not able to come home for Christmas because of the COVID quarantine that the Navy has placed on them. They're not able to travel. So that's something that only another military mom could get. You understand that their service is so necessary, but yet you're lonely. And so I think that's something that we as moms can support each other doing. Understanding the pride, but at the same time, being lonely for your child. You'll probably hear my voice break because it is very emotional.
It is. It's hard. I mean, because at the end of the day, they're an adult, but it's also your baby. It's your baby that is far away and serving our country. And with that, Carmen, if we can talk a little bit about the pandemic, you put the pressure, just regular everyday pressure of having your son or daughter serve, but now we're in the middle of COVID.
Right.
What has that done? And are you doing things differently? Not just as a mom, but also as an organization and as a volunteer?
Sure. As an organization, we are even more concerned about making sure that our sons and daughters, and I'm encouraging other moms who have sons and daughters serving now to join us. It's very important for our children, our grown men and women who are serving, to understand that they have someone back home that loves and cares for them, even though they can't come home. I am thinking about my son's inability to travel, and he's here in the US, he's in Arizona, and he cannot come. That is something that happened as well for my sister. My sister has a son who is serving in the Army as well, and she has leukemia and needed her son to be home because she was struggling physically. And fortunately, when something like that happens, the Red Cross gets involved and they can assist. But going through the treatments that she did, and her daughters were able to come to visit her, but her son could not. And the struggle that she had and her son. But you got to understand, there's huge pride. There's huge pride that your children serve. So on one side, so proud of my son. He's doing something so wonderful. At the same time, you're feeling, man, I wish he could be here with me, because I'm struggling with something and I need my son close. So fortunately, I've not had that same struggle, but I get it because I'm another military mother. And that's why military moms out there, I strongly encourage you to get involved with your local chapter. Here in West Bloomfield, in Keego Harbor, in the area that's being served by this broadcast, you would join Michigan Chapter 198. And we are meeting virtually right now. We are meeting via Zoom once a month on a Saturday morning. And I strongly encourage you, if you want to get involved with us, we really would love to have you. And what you would need to do is to email the president at president.mi198@bluestarmothers.us. Again, that's president.mi198@bluestarmothers.us. Thanks for the opportunity to plug that, Ronnie. I think it's really important right now during COVID that we do stick together.
No, my sister went through this. I've dated people in past lives that were in the military, and especially, we have to remember some of them as well. The people that are on submarines, they go over and they have no communication with their loved ones for weeks at a time. And so communication in this support group really is vital to the support of our entire military operations. And you as a mother and all that you do, and others and the volunteers are a part of that mission as well. And we want to say thank you. We're speaking with Carmen Johnson. She's the co-founder and past president for the Blue Star Mothers of America. Before we let you go, Carmen, do you want to talk at all about what we're seeing happening right now in the country it seems that we are divided right now because of this latest election. As a mom of military people, as a mother, as a wife, as a daughter, as a niece, what does it do to you to see this divisiveness in our country, knowing that you have loved ones putting their lives in harm's way for us to be a free nation?
I said it once before, but I'll say it again. We don't have a perfect country. It's not a perfect country, but it is the best country in the world. And I'm very proud to be an American. I'm very proud to have children who serve. I'm proud to be here where I have the freedoms that I have. And I know freedom does not come free. There is a cost. And I think a lot of our young people don't understand that. They don't understand that there's a price involved in keeping our country the way it is. So it breaks my heart to see what's going on. But I do believe that we have the best country in the world. And I'm so proud of my family for serving that country, for giving themselves, for thinking beyond just themselves and thinking about the greater good. And that is really important for our folks to remember right now. What is the greater good? And so that would be my thoughts.
Well, we appreciate you sharing your thoughts so much with us. Carmen Johnson, she is with Blue Star Mothers of America. Thank you to you and your family and all of them that serve us. And it's a hard time for the families when their loved ones are serving overseas, but not only when they are serving, but also when they come home, because they do not come home the same person who left, and they require a lot of support and continued support. And so on this Veterans Day, we want to say thank you to you as well. You're very proud, and we could feel your pride through the TV camera, but we do appreciate everything that you and all the mothers and all the families do for our servicemen and women. So thank you. We're going to take a quick break here on the Oakland County Megacast. Still a lot to get to. We have about 40 minutes remaining in the show and still a lot to get to. This is the Oakland County Megacast.
Michigan, the coronavirus pandemic has put us all to the test. And now it's time to put COVID-19 to the test. As we move forward, testing will be critical. We encourage anyone who has reason to get tested to do so, those with symptoms and those without. If you are leaving home and going back to work, get tested. If you think you may have COVID-19 or you've been exposed recently through family, friends, or coworkers, get tested. Our test locator tool can help you find the right testing site that fits your needs, even if you're looking for easy access with no cost, no prescription, and no appointment necessary. We've got you covered. Help Michigan move forward, not backward. To find a testing site or learn more, visit michigan.gov/coronavirus test. A message from the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services. Michigan, we still need to stay careful because we don't want to go backwards, back to where we started. So keep standing 6 feet apart, keep wearing a mask in public, and if you have symptoms, talk to a healthcare provider about getting tested. To move forward, let's all do our part. So stay careful. Michigan.gov/coronavirus.
On the Wednesday edition of the Oakland County Megacast. Sorry, I had to run downstairs real quickly to check in on the contractor as my husband has left. Great to have you with us. I'm Ronnie Dahl here in my home studio of Keego Harbor while Mr. Tyler Keith holds down the fort back at the studio Tyler, how's it going back there?
Oh, it's going nice and calm over here. I of course, we don't have contractors over here, so I did not have to run out real briefly. But you know what? You got perfect timing on that, too, Ronnie. You got back right as the break came back. It's perfect.
Well, I tried to make it quick, but you can see I was like running. So a little bit out of breath there, which means I need to get outside a little bit more and start running again. Plus, I have the turkey trot coming up, Tyler.
That's right. That's right. You know, then it's gonna be even warmer in the turkey uniform. So now's the perfect time. You can go out, not to wear the turkey uniform just yet. Go out this relatively warm day for November and go for a run. It'll be just as warm as you would be in the turkey uniform in a few weeks when it'll be in the 30s or 40s.
You know, I have an extra costume if you want to join me.
I've dressed up in more ridiculous uniforms for much worse occasions before, so.
Well, we so appreciate having everyone with us on this November 11th edition of the Oakland County Megacast. As a reminder, you can catch us Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. to noon on civiccentertv.com. Also, Birmingham Municipal Access Stations. If you still have cable, thank you, because a portion of your fee helps fund programs such as this. So you can catch us on Comcast as well as AT&T. Also want to say, if you're out driving around in your car, tune us in. You can listen to us on the road. 89.3 Lakes FM, 88.1 FM, The Biff. Switching gears up just a little bit. We're joined now on the Oakland County Megacast with Ann Jones. She's the VP of Marketing and Business Development for the Michigan Schools and Government Credit Union. We want to say thank you for being with us here on the Oakland County Megacast. It is just around the corner from Thanksgiving. Do you have big holiday plans this year, Ann?
Yes, like you, I hope to run the turkey trot again this year, and it's a good way to earn that dinner.
You start off the day exercising, and it's just put you in a different mindset. Obviously, we're going to miss the huge crowd in downtown Detroit. Some of the costumes, I will say, are quite fabulous. I think that's going to be the biggest thing that I miss.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's a lot of fun to watch everybody dress up, and sometimes what they run in makes me jealous that they can keep moving in those costumes.
Right? I saw, like, Tyler's kind of making fun of my turkey, but everyone wears a turkey. I'm like so outdated when it comes to the turkey trot. I saw two ladies last year running as a dinner table. Like they each had, like, they were connected, and it looked like a Thanksgiving table that they were running, and they passed me too, and all I had was a turkey costume, but they had the full fixings. They were amazing.
I think it's a whole special training that takes place to do that.
Exactly, definitely. Well, we're excited to have you with us here on the Oakland County Megacast. Thanksgiving aside, fill us in a little bit about what you all do over there with the credit union, and why is a credit union different than a regular bank?
That is a great question, one that many folks don't understand. So as a credit union, we're a not-for-profit. So that means that it allows us to give back to our members with better rates, fewer fees, free financial education. We do grants and scholarships, as well as a lot of community giving. So we have a mission that is focused completely on the financial well-being of our members. So with that, we do a lot of free credit counseling, as well as financial education, so that we can really help our members become more, reach their goals. So making sure their bills are being paid on time and saving for the things that they dream of. And as a credit union for Michigan Schools and Government, while we were founded in educators 60-some years ago, and we are really focused on first responders, we are actually open to anybody who lives in Lower Michigan. So we can help anybody who wants to bank with us. And for the most part, we find, because of our nonprofit status, you will find better rates and fees than most banks.
And do you find that during this crisis and the pandemic, the longer it goes on, the more people do need your services because it's more of a one-on-one family atmosphere?
I think for we do have members who we've been able to help throughout the pandemic crisis that have been financially impacted. We've been able to do forbearances for them to help reduce fees while they're waiting. They've become unemployed. So we always, no matter what our members' circumstances are, we always have conversations. So if it's a conversation about what product or service is best for them, not what we might be offering that month, but really what is best fits into their situation, as well as if they come against hardship, we always work with them with their individual circumstance to help them get through that, because part of our mission of helping our members with their financial well-being is being responsive to their needs and getting them through those situations. So, and we were also able to help our small business partners with the payment protection loans, helping process those as well, knowing that by helping our small business members, they are helping their employees throughout our communities, which is good for all of us.
Oh my gosh, it was a nightmare for so many of these business owners to navigate the language in that loan process. Ann Jones with us here on the Oakland County Megacast. She's the VP of Marketing and Business Development for the Michigan Schools and Government Credit Union. And Ann, I wonder your thoughts, because you are based in education with an education background. Should schools be teaching? Remember back in the day, we had home ec. You either had home ec or shop, and it was usually girls went to home ec, the boys went to shop. Now I think they need to bring back both of those, but they should also be teaching financial education starting in junior high. Do you think that would be a good program, or do you even have anything like that for your members to start having these conversations with their kids at a young age?
Oh, absolutely. Financial literacy is so important, and so many families don't talk about it with their children, and many because they themselves might not have the experience with their finances to do that. We are so appreciative of our teachers, and we know they have so many things that they have to pack into their curriculum. So we, because of that, actually offer financial literacy both in the classroom if any teacher wants to get some assistance. We have two teachers on our team, and they will actually go out and do those lessons for schools. And we work with a lot of schools to do that. We also do something called a reality fair, which is a really great way to approach it, where we give, it'll be a lot of students, so usually a few schools might come together, or we'll work with an individual school, and we'll take the older grades and we'll give them each jobs and salaries, and they go around to tables and they pick out the car that they want, if they're going to live at home or in an apartment, and we calculate that all up, and if they're going to eat out, if they're going to eat in, and we, at the end, we'll have them meet with a financial counselor to see, can you live on what you'll be making when you graduate? And it's such an impactful way to help students understand that next leap in their life, what that's going to look like. And then we also, for our community, we used to do them live, and we will again soon, but right now through Zoom, we're doing Getting Started with Cash and Credit. And those classes are for 16-year and older young adults. And we talk about what it means to have a credit card, that it's really a loan, what the difference between a debit and a credit card are, and all the responsibility that goes along with that. And then at Michigan Schools and Government Credit Union, we have what we call the Student Achieved Debit Card. And there's a lot of protections put in place. We ask them to take the workshop with us so they understand their responsibility in keeping their own financial wellness. And there's limitations on the card that they can work within to make sure that they're building up great credit. And we talk about credit scores and what that means in the class. And then they will then graduate and get the credit that they need to move forward. And when the time is ready, have the credit to get a mortgage and buy a house and do all the things that we do as we move through life milestones and move forward.
And those are great conversations to have. I remember doing an interview back in Detroit. I was talking with a dad, and he recently he started up his own business, and I remember him having the conversation of, I wish someone would have taught me the importance of having good credit at a young age.
Yes.
Because he didn't understand. Remember back in the day, and probably even now, they were giving out credit cards like candy. And then, you know, they go to the college campuses, oh, and a college kid, free money. And then you have to pay for that money down the road, and you pay a lot of extra money for that. So that's great that you all do that. Do you also want to kind of fill us in a little bit more on your giving back program as well, and specifically related to veterans, as today is Veterans Day?
Absolutely. We are very proud to be very active in our communities, and one of the programs that we do every year is we call it the Year of Giving Back, and each of our branches select a community partner that they would like to assist that year. Recently, we did work with the Veterans Community Action Team in the Motor City, and that is an organization that helps fill those gaps, making sure that our veterans get the services that they need. We were really excited to work with them and to make that financial donation. We work with Jimmy Don's Field, and one of the things that we sponsor is Hometown Heroes. So it's an opportunity to showcase our veterans and show our appreciation, and they get to go out. We host them at a game, and then during the fifth inning, they'll go out and be recognized on the field and through the broadcast of the game. And then up in 2021, we'll be featuring in a military tribute, a banner with the Highland Downtown Development Authority. So they'll be flying a banner in 2020 over Highland, Michigan. So those are some examples. And we also every day encourage our veterans to come in if they need any assistance with their finances. This past June, the Pew Research Center had done a survey of veterans, and they found that a third of them indicate when they come home they have difficulties paying their bills. So in each of our branches, we have a certified financial counselor that any of our members or someone who's interested in working with us, they can come and sit down, and we'll go over whatever their situation is. If they're having trouble paying their bills, it might be looking at, do they need to consolidate a loan? Do they need help putting a budget together? We also we can help them with their credit score and giving them tips on how to increase that so that moving forward they have more opportunity. And if it's a goal to save money because there's something they dream about purchasing. So those are just a handful of the things that we are doing in the community. And actually starting today in support of the small businesses around our Southeast Michigan, we're starting the Gift of Local, which encourages our members at Michigan Schools and Government Credit Union, or anybody who wants to join us, to submit a name of a small business that they really like, and we encourage them to do their holiday shopping at these small businesses. And then in December, we will be drawing a business from around each of our 15, soon to be 16 branches. And those businesses will each receive a $1,000 grant to help them through these difficult times. And then the nominator will get a $100 gift certificate. And then our team members will be doing the same, and they will submit names, and we'll pull 2 additional $1,000 gifts based on our team members' participation. So we're excited to try to find ways to impact our community positively.
And, you know, $1,000 for a small business means so much money. I mean, that can actually be the difference between keeping your lights on for another month and not keeping your lights on. So it must feel good to be able to be a part of an organization that is helping on such a local level.
It feels really good to be part of Michigan Schools and Government Credit Union. It's every day you get to do what you love and know that you're having a really positive impact. I think that's in no small part why we are so passionate about what we do, that our members for 20 years plus have given us the 96% satisfaction rating. We're 8 years running where our team members have voted us from the Detroit Free Press Best Place to Work. So I think that comes through having a job where you can really feel the impact you have on your community. It shows in how we show up and how excited we are to work for this organization.
Ann Jones with us here on the Oakland County Megacast. She's the VP of Marketing and Business Development for the Michigan Schools and Government Credit Union. And quickly before we let you go, just a couple things. Again, does someone need to be a part of a school or a government entity to join the credit union? Because I know some do have various stipulations to become a member. And if not, how do you become a member? And added on top of that, I know I have several questions in one. Some of the financial advice and tips and trade, are those posted anywhere where people can get that information?
Those are excellent questions and one that a lot of people have. So for our credit union, Michigan Schools and Government Credit Union, while we are very dedicated to our heritage with first responders and educators and our government partners, we are open to anyone who lives in Lower Michigan. So if you live, work, or worship in Lower Michigan, you are welcome to become a member and bank with us. And we have all of the virtual services that you would need. So if you are in the military and traveling, or you move away or have a home somewhere else, you can easily do all your banking through those virtual services. We also have free access to over 30,000 ATMs. So while we are focused on Michigan, you can go anywhere and know that you'll have your banking needs fulfilled. And you asked two more questions that now escape me.
No, that's okay. So you were talking about financial advice and tips for people. Do you post some of those tips on your website?
Oh, we do. So we have social media that we would encourage anybody to follow us, and we post financial tips as well as fraud awareness to make sure that your money stays safe, because sometimes people spend a lot of time trying to get in the way of you and your money. So we do everything we can to help our members stay very safe and secure and make sure that they understand some of the tricks that people will try to pull. And additionally, we also have free financial education through Zoom classes. So on our website, if you go to msgcu.org, under the Educate or Learn section of our website, you are welcome at any time. We have a first-time buyers and homeowners workshop. It can be very daunting to purchase your first home. So this workshop is short, yet it goes through everything you need to know in what the process will look like when you buy a home and how to help you pick the right home for you and your budget. And the workshop I mentioned before, we encourage parents and their young adults to take our cash and credit workshop, which we always love it when the parents join so that they can have ongoing discussions afterwards. So definitely keep an eye on our website and social media, and everyone is welcome to participate in that. And we would love for you to stop by one of our branches across Southeast Michigan and have a conversation just to see what areas you might be able to improve your finances in, or to ask questions. That's one of the things we're known for, is just being very welcoming. It can be daunting and there's no judgment. So come in and ask whatever questions you want, and we would be happy to help.
Well, Ann Jones with us on the Oakland County Megacast. She's the VP of Marketing and Business Development for the Michigan Schools and Government Credit Union. Great to have you with us, and thank you for sharing your insight and your knowledge as well, because making a sound financial decisions actually starts with a conversation. Like you said, do not be too proud. Stop in, have a conversation. It's only going to help improve your situation, but it's also a great time to stop and have those conversations early with your kids. Start when they're young, because you can set them up for life. So we appreciate your time today. And we're going to take a quick break here on the Oakland County Megacast. And when we come back, we'll round out the show speaking with the commander of the 126th Army Band. This is the Oakland County Megacast.
Michigan, we're calling on you to save lives. Don't ignore it. Don't let it go to voicemail. It's urgent. In fact, it's critical. Because if you've been in close contact with someone who tests positive for COVID-19, you may have been exposed to the virus. And you could get a call from My COVID Help or your local health department. So please answer the call to learn how to protect yourself, your family, and friends. We're calling on you to stop the spread of COVID-19. to make it safe to reopen businesses and help Michigan move forward. So if you get a call from My COVID Help or your local health department, you may have been exposed to someone with COVID-19. To protect us all, answer the call. Learn more at michigan.gov/containcovid. A message from the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services.
Hi, my name is Kurt Lawson, and I'm the Public Information Officer for West Bloomfield Township. We wanted to reach out to you, our older adults, to provide information that you may find useful during this difficult time. We want to ensure you that West Bloomfield Town Hall, our Waters and Utility Department, West Bloomfield Parks, and our police and fire departments continue to work hard on your behalf. Information and resources can be found on the Township website, the police Facebook and Twitter, or call West Bloomfield Park's COVID-19 Help Hotline. Please remember to keep your social distance of at least 6 feet, wear facial coverings when you leave your home, and wash your hands for at least 20 seconds with soap. These precautions will help keep you safe during these difficult times.
With us on the Wednesday edition of the Oakland County Megacast. I'm Ronnie Dahl here in the home studio of Keego Harbor, joined by the one, the only Mr. Tyler Keith, who always gets this show up and running each and every day. He's back at the Civic Center TV studios. Good morning, Tyler.
Oh, good morning, Ronnie.
It's just not the same not sitting next to you, Tyler.
It's something different, but you know what? It's just for today. You know, it works. It works either way. We've had a seamless show one way or another, so excited to have you back in the studio soon, but for today, you're doing a great job at home.
No, that's Tyler's way of saying that he's happy I'm not there because I'm constantly cleaning down the entire studio. But
no, I've been cleaning nonstop over the last couple of days.
It looks like it snows in the studio because the wipes leave this little white residue everywhere. So, but hey, it's clean back there, Tyler, right?
It is. It's very clean. I don't know if you can see. Yeah, they got a little bit of that white residue right here on the on this little lamp we have on our side table over here. That's from all the times that we spray down this studio all throughout the day. Ronnie, of course, in the mornings, and then me throughout the day when we're in here making other great radio and TV magic for all of you watching Civic Center TV and Lakes FM.
And we've all had to pivot and switch the way we are doing things here in the middle of the pandemic. And I'm sure that's the same situation for our last guest of the day. We are happy and proud to bring in Chief Kimberly Ferrante with us. She's the commander of the 126th Army Band. Thank you so much for being with us. And if we could say thank you so much for your service, we so appreciate it.
Thank you so much. It's an honor to be here, Ronnie. Thanks so much for having me.
How long have you been in the Army?
I've been in the Army for a little over 27. I think I might be going on 28 years now. I started my military service active duty as a full-time bandsman, and then I transferred into the Guard and then into the reserves. So majority of my time has been as a reserve soldier, but overall it's been almost 30 years of service for me.
So when you think back to that initial day that you were making the decision, how did that conversation go with your parents?
Oh, it was really funny because at the time, my birthday is in June, and I had to make that decision before the end of the year. So I wasn't even 18 years old yet. And my dad was very supportive because he actually was a tuba player in the Army Band many, many years ago. And he encouraged me to make this move. But then when I made the decision as to my choice of duty stations, they were a little frustrated because I had selected Germany and California and Hawaii and some other places because I wanted to get as far away from home as I could as an 18-year-old kid, right? So that was an enjoyable moment in my memory. But now that I look back on it, I wouldn't have done anything any differently. And any young person in today's world, I would definitely recommend that they take a look at military service because it gives you an opportunity to grow and to learn and to build on those skills, regardless of what your area might be, whether it's in the band, as a musician, or as an engineer, or in the medical sciences. It's just a really great opportunity for our youth.
Yeah, and before we start speaking about the Army Band and your mission and everything that you do, what do you want to say to the younger generation out there, especially some of the ones that may be feeling a little lost right now about the benefits of joining the military?
The benefits are so extensive. And if you're even thinking about it, but you're hesitating, I would definitely recommend getting in touch with your local recruiter. It really is something that when you look back on it, you can say, look what I accomplished. It's an accomplishment, and it's something that as you go throughout your career gains so much respect from organizations out there. And some people even end up making it their career, their lifelong career. So I wouldn't hesitate, even if you're a little concerned about it, I wouldn't hesitate to at least learn more about it. And when I first came in, I was only going to be in for a couple of years. That was going to be it. Just get in. I need the money for college. I want to get my degree, and then I'm going to move on to another job. And then as I started to feel that esprit de corps with my colleagues and my peers, I started to realize that this is more than just a job. This is a duty to our country. And if it weren't for those veterans who sacrificed their, livelihoods, their lives, their time with their families, we wouldn't have the lives that we have to live today. So once you step back and you look at the bigger picture, it helps you to realize why it is that we do what we do.
And so, Chief, as we mentioned, you are the commander of the 126th Army Band. What is the mission of the band? Why does the Army need a band?
The Army so needs a band. We provide music throughout the full spectrum of military operations, so regardless of the aspect, the dynamic of the military, in order to instill in our soldiers the will to fight and to win, and then also to foster the support of our citizens and promote our national interests at home and also abroad, because there's a lot of diversity out there, and by a lot of people, we all speak different languages, we have different cultures, we react differently to different situations. But the band and the music that we play is a universal language that connects with everyone across the globe. So it's our opportunity to share camaraderie with other nations while still being able to promote patriotism in the United States.
Music is the background to our life. What's it been like for you and the members of the band when we're in the middle of a pandemic and we're not really supposed to be around people right now? What was practice like? Were you doing anything via Zoom?
Oh, we did a lot of different things. So first of all, we got the call back in April that they required personnel to help support Operation COVID Hammer, which is the Michigan National Guard's response to COVID-19. And so we had a group of 10 individuals from the group that left the duty of the band to move into that federal service. I was one of those soldiers that performed that mission. And it was initially only going to be a couple of weeks to support at Feeding America within Comstock Park. And then that extended to a month, and then to 6 weeks, and then to 2 months. And then it ended up lasting over 3 months. And so that took us away from our unit. At the same time, we still have to train, because you can't have a military force that doesn't maintain their readiness. And so as this group was sidebarred, and we had several trumpet players, some of our key players and the commander, right, at this Operation COVID Hammer support, the band worked to improvise, adapt, and really overcome the situations that we were faced in order to support the community in the best way they could. So we retooled. Normally we have a 2-week annual tour in June where we tour a certain region within the state. This year, we were supposed to visit our sister nation of Latvia, and that obviously wasn't able to occur. But we needed to support our community somehow. We needed to uplift them and let them know that we were there for them and that their nation was there to support them through this. And so what we did was we took the number of players that were remaining from the other operation that was occurring. We divided them up into 2 small ceremonial groups, and then they performed at different assisted living centers throughout the community, places that were open but maybe weren't allowing any kind of internal visitors. And actually they're doing the same thing today, where they would go to these assisted living centers, our forgotten community, our population of elderly and the most vulnerable within our communities. And they stood outside of the windows and outside of the doors, and the residents were able to roll their window down, and we played for them. And then we'd rotate to different positions within the nursing home on the outdoors, playing for them. And I tell you what, it really affected everyone in the band. so much so that we've even reorganized our group to be able to support these types of missions in the future, because it was so flexible and it really touched the community like we've never seen. And the other issue today is Veterans Day, and we wanted to recognize our veterans. Think about our World War II and our Vietnam veterans. A lot of those are beginning to reach that elder age that may be in those assisted living centers. So by doing the same thing and repeating that service throughout different assisted living centers and nursing homes in the community, we were able to honor our veterans at the same time. So it's just been a great opportunity to learn and to grow, and for our soldiers to realize that, you know what, there isn't going to be any kind of pandemic that takes this unit down. There are many bands out there that really have just shut their doors, and they haven't supported much of anything in the community. But we've done everything that we can to maintain the safety and the security of our soldiers, but still to be able to support our community where it's needed, and just to help lift that spirit up. There's so many people that are down and depressed right now. Maybe they don't have a job, or they haven't seen their family because of the nursing home situation. So by us being out there, we're hoping that we can be that bridge that ties our community back together again, at least in our little part of the world.
Yeah, and can you speak a little bit about not just about the people who are on the receiving end of getting to experience and to hear your music, but what does this also mean to your members? And how is this helping them? Because we're all feeling some sort of isolation right now.
Well, I think for one part, it does give us an opportunity to come together. We were forced to drill remotely to do our duty separated for about 3 months. And it was challenging. We would all pick a weekend and we would have certain tasks that we would need to complete. But we finally got the opportunity to come back together again in August. And it was so fulfilling to see everybody. And it's hard because we want to give each other a hug, and, you know, we want to be there to you know, really support everyone through this. You know, we've had people that have been touched by COVID in their families. We've had people that have been touched in really devastating ways. But just to know that we've got family here, that we are an internal family, like a band of brothers, basically, and sisters, that we can support each other through it. And like I had mentioned before, it really was touching when we saw how much our efforts affected those people that we were able to perform for. You know, they didn't think that there would be, for example, we played on the 4th of July in Climax, Michigan, and we were able to sit out on a gazebo with a very small group of people, and we played marches. I mean, what is the 4th of July without a march, or Stars and Stripes Forever, you know, our national march? So being able to touch the community at a time when they feel that nothing can touch them, not that nothing can touch them, but when they feel very helpless and there's nothing that they can do to really change their circumstance, we felt as though we were able to add a sense of normalcy into their lives. Now, nothing's really going to be back to normal until, you know, this virus is behind us and we find ways to cope with it. But in the situation that we're at right now, we've really developed that growth mindset, and we've stretched ourselves to be able to meet the community where they're at and feel their pain and support them where they're at. And then in addition, our COVID-19 forces that we're helping with Feeding America, also helping to test across the state, has helped to support on the level of the pandemic as well. So we're not only supporting on a musical dynamic, but we're also supporting on the defense against COVID-19.
Chief Kimberly Ferrante with us. She's the commander of the 126th Army Band, joining us here on the Oakland County Megacast on this Veterans Day. And Chief, I have to say, it's probably, the world is completely different from when you joined back all those years ago, 20 plus years ago. I would imagine the Army's a bit different of a world now compared to what it was back in those days. I mean, think about it. I don't even think we had cell phones.
We didn't. No, right? With the cord on it. Yeah, I remember that.
Bag phone. You had a bag phone. But just from a standpoint of, you see 18, 19, 20-year-olds joining up to serve our country. Can you talk a little bit about the skills that they will gain coming out of being a member of the U.S. Army or any branch of the military as far as that goes?
Absolutely. So you learn a sense of authority, understanding what it means to be responsible to someone else. We talk about dedication to your position, dedication and loyalty and honor and selfless service. These are all these things that we learn. We learn to be servant leaders. You learn how to manage a schedule. You learn how to be independent. I know when I went to basic training, you'll laugh at this, but I was, like I said, 17. I think I just turned 18. And I sat in that barracks room just thinking, oh my gosh, this is so different than anything I had ever experienced. And it was very traumatic. It was basically the military's way of separating me from the comfortable space of living at home with my mom and dad, where they fixed me dinner and, they took care of me, to suddenly now I was responsible for a very, very important mission, which is to support and defend the Constitution of the United States. And so when that the weight of that lands into someone's spirit and their soul, it really helps them to mature very, very quickly. And I wasn't in the reserve or the National Guard when I first enlisted. I wasn't 5 minutes away from home going to drill for the weekend and then coming back. I was thousands of miles away. I was stationed in Virginia for a while, and then I was in California, and then I was stationed in Hawaii for a while. So it really helped you to learn that independence. I found myself a fiance, and I married my Marine Corps Tuba husband about a year after joining. So it opens a whole new pathway of experiences for young people, and it may be a pathway towards a career and a retirement. And for some that join in the National Guard or the Reserve, you're able to stay until the age of 60. So it can create a very, very lifelong dedication and devotion to our nation in service, and provides with educational benefits. It can give you student loan repayment. It can give you excellent healthcare coverage. There are just so many benefits that the federal government and the state provide our soldiers that decide to serve their government.
And, one thing I think a lot of people don't realize is even if an individual chooses to leave the military, there are so many jobs out there where you do get veterans preference. So
Absolutely.
in the hiring process as well. So your opportunities do extend beyond just the service that you have in the military as well.
Yes, absolutely. I actually was a GS employee for a while, which is a federal civilian status. And I was able to, if I was interested in doing this, I was able to purchase my active duty time and add that towards my time in service, which would have made my retirement come even sooner, because they would take into consideration all of the time that I served while I was active duty. So there are definite benefits. You may not see the benefits right away, but after a little bit of life's experience comes your way, you're going to look back and say, this is something that I really should have looked towards doing. And if anyone is interested in a career with the military, even a career in the Army band field, the music program, whether it's Reserve, National Guard, or active duty, I'd be more than happy to make a connection with them. So.
Oh, that's great. Thank you so much. Quickly, before we let you go, anything that maybe I didn't ask that you want to touch on before we say goodbye?
Well, I just want people that are listening today to, if you see someone walking around with their veterans hat on, thank them for their service and thank them for doing what it is that they've done. Because if it weren't for them, as I mentioned earlier, if it wasn't for their service, we wouldn't be where we're at today. So I think so many times we go through our busy days and we're so focused on our needs and things that we need. We need to turn our attention out towards others and thank those that have served so dutifully throughout the country. We just need to make sure that we recognize them and we thank them for their service. So I thank you for your time today. Thanks for giving me an opportunity to speak. It's been a pleasure.
Well, Chief, we always, it's great having you on the show as well. Quickly, before I let you go, Tyler comes from a family of individuals that served in the military. Tyler, anything you want to ask?
No, not at the moment. I think we covered a lot of it in this, but I do want to thank, of course, Chief Kimberly Ferrante for her service as well.
Thanks, Tyler. Appreciate it.
And next time, Chief, we're going to have you or your husband bring out the tuba.
That sounds great. I think you should all come out to one of our performances and do some recordings, and we could share some of our music with your audience. That'd be great.
We would definitely appreciate that, and we would love that as well. Again, thank you for your time, and thank you for your service, and please extend our gratitude to your entire team as well.
I will do that. Thanks so much. Have a great Veterans Day.
You too. So that's pretty much going to wrap it up here for us on the Oakland County Megacast on this Wednesday edition. But I want to say thank you to Larry and Jake and Tyler as well, the entire team here, to be able to help get this show on the air each and every day, not just today. But I appreciate you guys, and also, of course, to all of those out there that are serving our country, past and present. Please, if you're considering joining the military, have an honest conversation about all the benefits and what it does mean to serve our country. We all say thank you because we owe you a debt of gratitude. This has been the Wednesday edition of the Oakland County Megacast.